So Jazz had his doctor appointment yesterday, and doctor said he's cleared to resume participating in activities, non-contact. So today, he was able to participate in some of the shooting drills and those things, but not in live practice. So, we're 48 hours out from our game. Another question is going to be, is he going to play and all those things? And right now, like I said, when we dealt with Caleb's situation, we're going to do its best for Jazz and see how that goes over the next 48 hours. But we're hopeful that he'll return here soon, whether that's Saturday or when that might be. With Caleb, his back has been good. No reason, he's I don't want to say he's totally through it, but he feels good. He's moving good. Doesn't appear to be anything holding him back at this point. So he was involved in the entire practice today, and that was essentially the first time he had been in some time, and he looked good, moved good, felt good.
For Jazz, can he be cleared for contact between now and Saturday?
He can. He could be, yes, he could. I think today was more of, just being cautious. We want to be smart, but he could get cleared for Saturday.
How did the team respond? Is this the first day you've practiced?
It is.
How did it respond after whatever the grind was?
Saturday,
Monday.
Yeah, they're really good. I mean, I think for us, we take so much pride in the things that we do at practice every day. And so, when you play Saturday and then you have a quick turnaround to Monday, you're not able to do a whole lot Sunday going into a game. And so it was awesome to get back to the practice court. Guys had good energy. Spirits were upbeat. I like the energy that we had and feel good about where our guys were at mentally.
What, with losing the leads coming on the road, is that a reason why, or is that unreasonable?
I would say, if I really look at and evaluate road games for our team, I'd say there's been times where the environment, has gotten to us a little bit. And specifically with us turning the ball over more than we normally do. Now, I don't put that onus of the responsibility on the guys who the turnover shows up to next to the sheet, because how we play, it's 5 guys involved with the offense, right? And so, you look at our last game, we had 4 turnovers in the first 30-plus minutes and 13 in the last 10. So as much as there's other things we didn't do well, there's a pretty clear story that, as the pressure ramped up, we didn't handle it very well. And that was, similar Saturday. So we've just got to be, have a stubborn toughness to it, knowing that teams are going to ramp up the pressure, and we can't let it impact us. It hasn't impacted us at home, and we can't let it impact us on the road. But if you were to look at something and say what has happened in some of those situations, that would be what you'd point to and say, hey, when the teams ramp up pressure on the road, at this point it seems to have affected us, not for the positive.
So in that same vein, we've talked so much about how Taman's been pretty steady throughout this whole year. It seemed like maybe that pressure got to him on Monday more than it had in any other game. What did you see? What kind of got him out of rhythm?
Yeah, I'd say more than anything, like I said initially, like whether it's our press break or even our half-court offense, we really pride ourselves on everybody sharing it and touching it. And if you look at the first, 28 minutes of the game, we have 59 points. We're doing a great job of doing that. So even though, Taman had some turnovers more than he'd had, I'd say this, he's done so many great things. I couldn't have his back more and be more excited that he's our point guard and have trust and belief in him. Do we all know that he holds himself to a higher standard than, what happened on Saturday? Of course he does. And we've seen that all year long. So as far as I'm concerned, that's my guy, and he's a winner. He's tough. He's a competitor. I'm excited to see his response because I know how important it is to him and how much he cares, and I'm confident in how he'll respond.
In terms of handling the pressure, do you lean on the times you've successfully handled it in the past, or do you install anything new to deal with it if teams decide that that's kind of in their mind a way that they can get you off kilter?
Yeah, I'd say more than anything, everybody's got to be involved in our offense, right? We're not everything we do is based on a team dynamic. So when you really look at it, there's a lot of guys who are playing that were nowhere near the ball that last 10 minutes of the game, and that's not what we, not what we preach, not what we do. So I think, even though you can say, well, how are we going to attack it? our players still have the strengths and the skill set that they do, and we've got to play to their strengths. And when teams are trying to take us out of that, we've still got to be mindful of, for our offense to be effective, we need to be able to drive the ball some, go into the post some, hit the roller some, get cutting some, and offensive rebound. And so, we didn't have any offensive rebounds the second half, so that's a great way to get the ball inside. We didn't go into the post enough. We didn't play the rollers enough. We put a lot of undue pressure on our guards, because we got spread out and we got sped up. So I think more than scheme, it's more an understanding that, hey, we're all involved in this. We're all sharing the ball. We're all together. This isn't leave one guy in an island. This isn't just, hey, give the ball to the guy who's the point guard and let him make magic happen. It's more about everybody involved, everybody having each other's back.
I think we've talked about this some before, but if teams continue to guard Taman in a way where they drop way back into the paint and basically just use their horizontal guy as another help defender, like what's got to be the adjustment then for you guys to work through those things?
Yeah, I'd say, the one thing in our league is the majority of people play a defensive system that involves a lot of ball pressure. So, certainly what we saw on Saturday was a little bit different than we've seen at points in time. When people make that choice, there's things that, that we can do, whether we're more intentional about driving the ball, whether now there's no ball pressure, we're getting rollers and post-ups more, whether we're keeping our dribble alive in the paint and finding guys that are more of our scorers. I think it comes down to more just keeping that team dynamic. Like, how does the ball keep moving? How does everybody keep touching it? And truthfully, even at the end of the game, we were 10 of 16 from the field in the second half when we couldn't have probably played any worse. So it wasn't necessarily even, it was, 13 turnovers and specifically 7 of them were live balls. So those are the things that you got to stay away from. And we've done a terrific job up to this point of not doing that. But how I see things, it's when you have live ball turnovers, you're putting yourself in position to put yourself at a disadvantage, and that we can't do.
The damage of those live ball turnovers are obvious, but what's the cascading effect where you can't set your defense, you can't create turnovers, and then you can't get your offense off those turnovers?
Yeah, it's a really tough spot to be in. If you look at over the course of 21 games, I would say that 17 to 17 and a half games, we've been the aggressor. There's been times we haven't, and usually it's been on the road against a lot of ball pressure, right? And so the challenge is when you have live ball turnovers, it doesn't allow you to do, during the game you're thinking, should we mix this defense? Should we cover that differently? But in the end, they score 19 points just zipping it right at you and getting an and one or laying it in. And so now it just puts you a little bit more on your heels. And again, to the credit of the young men in our program, the overwhelming majority of the time, that's what we're doing, right? That's what we're imposing our will by turning people over and creating that advantage for ourselves. And when we do that, both by turning people over and by the rebounding margin, where we've been good, right? Like, we've been really good because we have X amount more possessions. Well, unfortunately, in that 10 or 12 minute stretch there in that second half, they had 8 offensive rebounds, we had 0, and we had 13 turnovers, 7 live balls. So really our identity was flipped against us, and we can't have that happen.
Whatever the issues on the road have been the last couple of days, how good you guys have been at home? How much does that gird against that, give you a chance to still achieve everything you want to do all the way up to and through, competing for a regular season title?
Yeah, I know our guys are really excited to be back in front of our fans, and to certainly they've performed well at Hilton. We've been the aggressor in this building, and we need to. That's going to be so important on Saturday that we continue with it, and I'm confident we will. Again, it's one game at a time. There's one game in front of us. A lot of respect for their program, and know at the same time, one play this way or that way, and the outcome could have been different down there. So we feel good about where we're at. We feel good about the position that we're in. If you'd have said what the slate of games we had the first half of the league, would you be good with 6-3? At the start of it, we'd probably all would have said that'd be a great spot to be in. So I think we have to not be overreactive. As disappointing as the game was on Saturday and frustrating as it was, it's still one game. It counts for one loss, and we've got to do a great job of focusing on what's in front of us. And this opportunity on Saturday couldn't be bigger.
What have you seen from Kansas on film over the last
Yeah, I mean, for teams, we're all going to experience adversity through the course of the year. And I think, all of us coaches know that. There's going to be a stretch. As good as everybody is, Baylor lost 3 to start league, Kansas lost 3 right there. Everybody's going to have that adversity. And how you respond to it and not getting down and not, letting things fester or harboring on things you didn't do, and just getting back to focusing on what you do. And I think for us, coming off the last 2 games, that's really where we need to be at. Just focus on, hey, if we go down pressuring the basketball, rebounding the ball, and commanding it, doing the things that we talk about every single time I'm in front of the microphone and in front of our guys, we're going to be fine with what the outcome is night in and night out. We just have to make sure that we have a stubborn, tough grit to saying we are the aggressor, we do pressure the ball, we're great on the glass, and we're going to do a great job valuing it.
What's the value of having the veteran team knowing, you guys have only lost 2 games in a row in the world, but
Yeah.
no adversity is going to come, and it's usually at this time of year when things get really hard in February, with the tournament still kind of a ways off.
Yeah, I mean, we've got guys that have done this for a number of years, right? So they know whether you want to call it a grind or what a season, how the ebbs and flows, ups and downs, and so they've been through it before. I mean, we've got a lot of older veteran guys that have experienced that, with the exception of, Taman and Demarion, in terms of guys who are playing, they've all, had at least, 4 years of college basketball or in their 4th year. So they know what it is. They know what we need to do. We just need to have a mental reset, get refocused, do what we do, and we're in a great position. So it is, you're fortunate to have some veteran guys who mentally know how to handle that, but also physically know how to handle it as well, and how to take care of their body and do the things so that they're feeling great when it comes time to play the game.
You guys made things, look a little more difficult for Wilson when you guys were in Lawrence. What did you like about kind of the perimeter defense on him in that game, and what makes him so difficult to guard?
Well, at 6'8", his ability to score it anyway is really challenging. Now, when you watch a lot of their games, they get separation and transition, right? They're able to fly ahead. Him and Dick are tremendous in transition, knocking down threes, and then they also really will attack, drive the closeouts. They do a great job of setting him up to get drives to his right hand, where he's really effective getting downhill and getting to the foul line. And at his size, sometimes on those drives, it can be pick your poison because he can get to the mid-range, he can get to his floater, he can force action to the rim and try to get fouled. So I think at his size as a wing or a big guard, it's just such a unique cover, with everything that he can do. And, last game, there's opportunities Gabe had on him. I thought they were effective. Other guys had opportunities they were effective. But more than that, it's knowing with our team defense that that's their guy. That's their go-to guy. And the ball's going to end up in his hands a lot. And it's not putting one guy in an island. It's recognizing that our team defense is what, we've hung our hat on. And it takes everybody being locked in to do that job collectively.
What kind of opportunity do you think this is, if you can answer this, for Grady Dick to play on the same floor that he's not played on?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I couldn't answer it. I just don't know how to because I don't know him. So I would say you probably have to ask Grady Dick that question.
You touched on it a little bit, but the environment, it seems like when Iowa State and Kansas State or Kansas are both good, Hilton's, the crowd's a little bit different for this game. What kind of environment do you anticipate the crowd having to create for this one?
Yeah, our fans have been phenomenal. I mean, some of the games that we've had this year stand out as the best I've ever seen in this building, and I've been through some good ones. So we know how enthusiastic and passionate our fans, our students are. We've got everybody, students in session, and everybody's here. And so we expect it to be a big-time environment. We expect our fans to be highly enthusiastic. We expect our guys to feed off that energy and continue to have it be a really challenging place for anybody to come because our guys have they take a great sense of pride in playing here, and our fans are, bringing it as well. So it's a great combination.